Hey there, it's Jen Brown. Welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today I'm going to be walking you through a tutorial to make this crocheted crop top and skirt set. You can wear them together to look like a dress, but they are separate. I've been really loving wearing the tops with jean shorts so far this summer. The skirts actually look really cute, I think, with t-shirts too, so I wanted to do something a little bit more versatile. I have linked another crochet pattern below. I made the outfit in pink first, following and adapting a little bit the top from this, I can't remember the name of it right now, from this tutorial. I'll link that below. But the skirt pattern, I actually couldn't find any free skirt patterns that I liked, so I made that up. So before we get started on the skirt, I will kind of go through a diagram that I drew, showing you how to figure out the sizing for yourself, because I don't really know what measurements make what size for the skirt. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but for now, let's get started with the top. So like I said earlier, I kind of made up the pattern for this skirt, so I've sort of drawn out like a basic diagram so that you can figure out the size for yourself. So this is our waistband of the skirt. We're going to attach that later. It sits at your natural waist. So what you're going to do first is use a chain stitch to measure just below your natural waist. For me, that's 120 chains. That's going to be the start of this part of the skirt. Next, you're going to extend the chain to measure the widest part of your hip. For me, that's 175 chains. So when you're making your skirt, it's a good idea to kind of try it on as you go, just to be sure, but you're going to want to make sure that it is at least that wide, if not wider, if you want it to be like a little bit poofier when you get to this part of your hip. So for me, this worked out that during this portion of the skirt, I increased each row by 2 each time, but if this number and this number, the gap between them is a little bit larger, you may need to increase more than 2, just if you have a little bit of a wider hip and a thinner waist. So like I said, just trial and error, try it on, see kind of how it's fitting. As you start to do the rows up here, you can kind of start to guess like where it's going, if it's gonna fit. I also have my measurements written down below, so that can maybe kind of help you gauge what size you might be, if the skirt needs to be larger or smaller, depending. So there we have the finished skirt and top set. These are super adaptable, so if you want to do anything to add sleeves, change the straps, make the skirt longer or shorter, more or less flared, it's all, I think, pretty easy going off this base design. I really enjoyed this. I'm holding myself back from making tons and tons of crocheted skirts and tops. I'm really new to making like real clothing that's been crocheted, not just like scarves and hats and that kind of thing. So if you are new like me and you're wondering about how do I wash these, I made some test samples with the pink yarn. Here they are. They look pretty much the same. This one, I think you can tell, looks a little bit fluffier. This one has been through the dryer. So I wanted to see kind of what happened when you put the yarn in the washer and dryer. Both times I put them in a sweater bag. This one has just been through the wash, and then I laid it flat to dry. Honestly, it was not that wet. This yarn, I think, is mostly acrylic, so I think it kind of didn't really hold as much water. So it honestly didn't really need to go in the dryer. If you're using a more natural yarn, it may shrink. I have read that you can put your yarn, like the skein of it, through the wash before you even get started. I've always been too scared to do that and like ruin it before I start anything. This one though, leaving it in the sweater bag, I did put it in the dryer. It kind of got a little misshapen on the corners, so you might have to like straighten things out before you put it in the dryer, but it held up pretty well. It's not really one's not like softer than the other, but I'll probably just stick to just wash machine and line drying those. But I just wanted to share that in case you're wondering about that, because that is definitely something that I wondered about a lot. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy it. If you make any of these, please let me know and show me. You can follow me on Instagram. It's at JLBrown914. It's also, I have it written on the little end card at the end of this video. But I would really love to see it if you make any of these or adapt them to your own. I think that would be really cool. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.